Yo, what's happening guys, King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Ultra League video. Today I'm going to be showcasing some battles sent into the channel by our good friend Twisted. Want to say a big thank you to Twisted, as always, for sending in these battles. Today we're showcasing a very meta team, featuring Jellicent, Sandslash and Registeel. A very meta team, and a very strong team if you're looking to make a climb in the Ultra League. Now, if you guys are like me, and don't have a Registeel, fear not, Twisted is actually using Raid IV Registeel 14-15-15. Which means it only goes to level 42, which means that if you do raid a decent amount of these, maybe like 5 or 6 of them, you probably have the XL candies that you need. Now, Registeel has not been in raids for a while, so I completely understand if this team is a little bit inaccessible to you guys, but I do want to showcase these battles because it is a very strong team, and I personally believe in your sort of journey in Go Battle League, whenever you first get into the game, you start building Great League Pokemon, get all of the meta Pokemon built, and whether it be your Lanturns, whether it be your Annihilates in this case now, your Whiscashes, your Skarmorys. Once you have a decent amount of Great League Pokemon built, I think it's a great idea to start building Ultra League Pokemon. And these free Pokemon are 3 of the strongest Pokemon in the Ultra League. Now, one thing I'd like to mention here about Registeel versus Cobalion in this matchup, it's typically a win for Reggie in the zeros. However, because of her IVs, it is a little bit worse. Jellicent is an XL Pokemon, and Sandslash is an XL Pokemon as well. However, all 3 of these Pokemon are very strong. Jellicent, just super thick, can eat a lot of moves, and is a very strong neutral Pokemon across the meta. Registeel wins the zeros against so many Pokemon, and if you can get it XL'd as possible, it will perform even better. If you could get, for example, like a 10-15-15 from raids, it's not going to be quite as good as a traded one, but it will still be very strong and still very usable in the Ultra League. And Sandslash, just a complete core breaker, right? You guys probably seen my video 2 days ago showcasing this Pokemon. Very strong and can core break a lot of teams. There are a lot of teams with things like Dragonite and Tenta on the exact same team, and Sandslash, just a very nice core breaker if you're not running into fire types. These battles were recorded a little bit earlier in the season. As you can see, Twisted has hit Expert at this point, and he was at 25-65 at the start of the video. He went on a huge run with his team, and was telling me that it was super strong. At this point, he was on the leaderboards, and he was getting Q times in Ultra League here. This team setup is an ABB team setup, meaning that we are weak to counter in the lead, and double weak to counter in the back. We're also double weak to fire, and we're using Registeel to basically draw out the fire types. Now, in this match, we've got a very rock, paper, scissors RPS matchup. Registeel versus Pidgeot. This is basically a hard wall to this thing, and we're going to start launching Zap Cannons. We're going to get debuffs, the opponent's going to debuff us into Oblivion, and basically put us in a position where we're debuffed, and they can probably look to go for a farm down. Once again, Pidgeot was another Pokemon that I was showcasing yesterday, in my team that's a little bit more accessible, and perhaps a little bit more budget friendly. Pidgeot's a very strong Pokemon, and we do make a very nice undercharge in this situation, leaving it that we do get a few extra lock-ons. The opponent finally goes for the Brave Bird, and as you can see, they have got us down quite low. They come in with Stunfisk for the farm, we don't let them get the farm down. So Twisted, recognizing what I said, that the opponent's debuffed us into Oblivion, and can basically come in and get a bunch of farm. We aggro swap into the Jelly, and we actually draw out a Zapdos in the back. The opponent thinks they are the master of baiting, however, we just do not give a crap. We're just going to let that go for Shadow Ball. The opponent had to try and call the move, because if we went for Surf, of course, that could be a win con for them. Good games well played there, and hopping into the next one, we have Galvantula lead. Before we hop into the rest of the battles, guys, if you could do me a quick favor, drop a like in the video, and if you do enjoy this content, subscribe. Typically, Ultra League content is not that popular here on this channel, so if you guys could support the videos, it'd be very much appreciated. Anyway, guys, we have pretty much the hardest of all walls to Registeel. Runerigus just absolutely collapsed Reggie. I think it's quite an interesting pick from the opponent. In this meta, we have a lot of things like fire types. Skeledirge seems to be everywhere. Registeel seem to be fairly common. And I think this Pokemon just core breaks a lot of teams. I think if you have an XL Runerigus, it could be quite an interesting pick. Because as you can see, Reggie's just doing nothing to this thing. Once again, we're not allowing it to get the farm down. We're swapping back into our Jellicent. And because we've debuffed them, we can easily live that move. Now the opponent comes back in with Galvantula. They should just go for Discharge here, but unfortunately for them, they go for the resisted lunge here. Absolutely unnecessary, and we do go for a Shadow Ball. So that one bait by the opponent's going to cost them like an extra 70% of their health, and we're just going to come in and basically force the energy with Reggie. At this point, guys, we have an Alolan Sandslash sweep waiting in the wings. We're going to start farming this the whole way down. The opponent's trying to get to a move, but instead they're just going to give us a bunch of energy. They come into Runerigus, giving us even more energy, but they will absorb this Ice Punch and look to basically come into whatever's in the back. In the back, they have a Clefable. This is quite an interesting matchup here. In the zeros, this match is extremely close. I have a slightly attack-weighted one, and in the zeros, I tend to Simul KO. I can see here the IVs on this is 2-12-12, so it is a slightly attack-weighted Sandslash. So this is probably a very similar performance to mine. Ice Punch coming through. We just go straight Ice Punch here. Because we got that energy lead, we can live 1 Meteor Mash, and yeah, we can basically just spam Ice Punch. We'll just outpace the opponent. It takes them 6, 6, and then 5 Fairy Winds to get to these moves, so we just heavily outpace. And from this range, we should just about still live this move and get off the Drone Run to guarantee the KO. Good games well played, and once again, a very interesting pick by the opponent. Clefable is quite a nice one for the Ultra League, and we're going to hop on into the next battles here. Suicune in the lead, very, very spicy pick. A lot of people were swearing by Suicune around the start of the season. With the access to Scald and all of the debuffs, this thing finally has a hard-hitting move that debuffs the opponent. As you can see, they debuff the Reggie. They're staying in here for quite some time, which I do find quite interesting. So perhaps they do want to get off another move here. We do get the attack drop on them as well, and they're going to look to fire off another Scald. I think we're pretty happy with this. This thing is very awkward for Jelly to deal with, and we're going to even get off a second Zap Cannon. The opponent is seemingly core broken. They do let that move through, and they're going to get off a dying move. I think we still live a Scald from this range and probably do still get off a move. Reggie's too thick. We bank the Focus Blast. That's quite interesting, and in comes an Ampharos. Quite interesting that the opponent didn't come into this a bit sooner. I'm thinking that they probably just didn't have the most amazing answer in the back, so they basically decided to spend their Suicune in that situation, or maybe they have 2 answers in the back to Jelly. We are seeing that they have 1 Ampharos here, right? So they might have another answer. Once again, we've banked this Focus Blast. Really nice play from the Reggie, and that will take them out. In comes Cresselia. So not exactly an amazing answer to Jelly. It can do fine into it, but of course they're down a shield at this point. So yeah, I guess our team comp just kind of worked very well into theirs. The Sonic the Hedgehog versus Cresselia. The Sonic the Hedgehog versus the Rubber Ducky. A very, very convincing matchup here. Now the only thing we have to watch out for is the energy from the Suicune. I believe they banked a move before leaving. Future Sight coming through, we do shield up one of those, and the opponent comes in for the move. Now, what I would have liked the opponent to do here, they do go for that move and they do not get the debuff, so I guess they were just fishing for the debuff right there. But actually, they were still up a shield, so I wonder if that was over. I think they did need to get the debuff there, but the opponent perhaps could have tried to throw their Future Sight and their moves first, and then basically try to land the Scald for the win. I feel like that might have been a little bit better from them. However, we just had a lot of energy, and I don't think there was that much they could have done. So hopping on into the next battle, and speaking of inaccessible, we have a Megazord on the other team. The opponent's coming in with Megazord. Let me know if you know that reference, and they come into a Talonflame. Now, the one really great thing about Registeel is, if you get a little bit of a head start, you can outpace these Incinerate users to the first move, right? It takes them 3 Incinerates, which is 15 turns. It takes 16 turns to get to the Zap Cannon, which will threaten them. As you can see, the opponent did shield it. That's what makes Reggie such a good safe swap. If you get a couple of lock-ons advantage, you're putting yourself in a position where you can get off moves on these fire types and basically force shields, right? If they come into Charizard, you get a shield. If they come into Talonflame, you get a shield. Skeledirge doesn't have to shield, but it can start getting a little bit dicey if they let it through. And if you get a debuff, we're coming in with Jelly here. We're basically happy to eat the fly and then look to go for a Surf and try to sweep with the ELO and Sandslash, just in the hopes they don't have a great answer. The opponent comes into Jellicent. Now, Sandslash has got a lot of work to do. Sandslash in any given matchup will beat Jellicent, and it will beat Zygarde as far as I'm concerned. The opponent's going to fire off a move. They do go for a Surf. Huge, huge, huge. Very big call here by Twisted. If we start shielding baits, that puts us in a position where it's going to be very difficult to take out Zygarde. Now the opponent, they are going to go for another move. We're more or less forced to shield this up at this point, unfortunately. And we're going to, unfortunately, have to shield up again. This is starting to look tough. As you can see, Sandslash versus Jellicent is not super dominant. They can make it very, very dicey. Now we're up to back-to-back moves almost. Can we get both of these moves? The opponent does get off the move, and this should be the crunch. Zygarde, even though that's double super effective damage, was able to live that move. This thing is far too tanky. We're basically forced to go for a Surf here. I don't think it's going to KO, and Megazord does take that match. Yeah, let me know if you guys get that reference in the comments down below. And speaking of, inaccessible Pokemon, Zygarde is the perfect example of that type of Pokemon. I think, sometimes in Pokemon Go, they release Pokemon, and the way that they release them doesn't really benefit the vast majority of players, but it will benefit people who literally play the game all day, or people who do cheat. Unfortunately, I think Zygarde is one of those Pokemon where it really benefits people who are like spoofing, and I think with the latest Rocket event as well, the new shadows that went into Grunts were exceptionally rare and very difficult to get a hold of, so I don't think that really benefits the overall player base that much, because number one, you start to get bored after a while whenever you do Grunt after Grunt. I done over 100, and I think I got 2 Snow Runs that could have been a Frostlass. Both of them were obviously terrible IVs, but whenever you're sort of putting in that much gameplay, right, and you're not really getting completely rewarded for it, however, people can just teleport to the correct Pokestops and get the correct Shadow Pokemon, or in Zygarde's case, there was, I think, a glitch to get extra Zygarde cells. There are some people who are out here getting this stuff legitimately, but then of course there are some people who ruin it for everybody. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below. I would like to see Pokemon Go try to take a shift away from, forcing people to play for an extreme amount of time to get the Pokemon that they want, in order to make it a little bit more balanced for Go Battle League. This is a very cool Pokemon. This thing spams, look how spammy this is. 9 turns. 9 turns. They outpace Ice Punches, which is kind of insane. We're going for a very ambitious overfarm, and we're going to look to go for an Ice Punch to hopefully KO here. Regirock, quite an interesting pick for the Ultra League. Back in comes Polly. They're still decently healthy, so we're going to Drill Run first, and then come into Jellicent and go for the Shadow Ball. The Shadow Ball would not have KO'd from that range, so we're going to go for the Wombo Combo, get rid of this thing, and in comes a Cresselia in the back. Now, I think we need to get to a Shadow Ball here. They will go for a Grass Knot, but depending on your IVs, you can easily live 2 of these. I think we might even still live another one on 1 HP. It would probably be better at this range if they just took us out. Shadow Ball number 1 coming through. I think we just commit to the Shadow Ball, force them to throw energy, and I think we'll live this on 1 HP. 1 HP it is. 1 HP it is. Nice win there by Twisted, but the opponent was getting pretty dry. And I think Slash, probably, it would have been close, but it probably could have just about cleaned it up. They may have just left the Drill Run on 1 HP, but yeah, good games. And now at this point, we're going to see this from the other side. We've got the Jelly, they've got the Sand Slash. Now in the lead, it's not that great for Jelly, and this is basically a baiting matchup. If you land the Shadow Ball, I think you can more or less farm them down. We'll see here. Maybe you can't quite farm them down, but landing the Shadow Ball is pretty huge in this matchup. The opponent does not call it, and we just, like I said, go straight for the move. We're not messing about here, and we're happy enough just to let the... Oh my goodness gracious me. What was that bait? What was that bait? It kind of doesn't matter because we have to throw the move anyway, but what was that? What was that all about? Trainer! Why are you baiting that? Just get rid of it. And now we're going to 2-shield farm it down. This is quite interesting actually. This is quite a play. 2-shield farm down. Hopefully they just don't have a Poly. They have a Jellicent of their own in the back. This is quite interesting. Up all this energy. I think we're in a decent position here. We're going to go for 4 and throw for good timing. Oh, we go for 5 and then go for the catch. I think that was just like a little bit too obvious for a catch. What I like to do in that situation is just basically like do a 1 and throw and then build up to their good timing, like do 4 and throw for their good timing and go for the catch. I think when you do 5, it gives them 2 turns to see your switch, and it never really works out that well. Shadow Ball coming through. Does the opponent not have an answer to this? This is quite interesting. Surf coming through. Okay, they just don't have an answer to this apparently. What is going to be in the back, and is it something that Reggie can deal with? Could be a Tenta? Oh, it's a Cresselia. Yeah, we're just absolutely loaded in energy here. So we come into Sand Slash, Drill Run number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, and we still have a future sight from this range as well. Drill Run number 2, Drill Run number 3. Sonic the Hedgehog absolutely spamming out Drill Runs for days here. And by the time they eat the 3rd one, it's just curtains for them. Like, we farm them down into lock 1 down range, and I think we still live this move by 1 HP. Okay, I guess I'm not that good at predicting the damage, but pretty low, and definitely a very nice win there. Slash just up energy, goes crazy, and we find the Core Breaker. Virizion. What do we do with this thing? We can't swap. We cannot swap here, and we just let the move go. We'll see what they throw. Of course, it's going to be Leaf Blade. So it'll be on Leaf Blade, Secret Sword. That's what it is the majority of the time. You do occasionally see Leaf Blade, and okay, we go for the catch on the Leaf Blade, and the opponent swaps into Poly. That's an interesting one. So the opponent here is Ebi to Charm, so it could probably be Tentacruel in the back. So if we can get rid of this Poly, this is a tall order here. If we can somehow get rid of this Poly, I mean, they're already down a shield, and we do outpace to the move. So yeah, if we can get rid of this, and maybe look to get some more damage on the Virizion, yeah, probably come in Jelly here. You don't shield here, you just farm it the whole way down, throw off a Shadow Ball and hope they let it through. We might be able to sweep with Sand Slash once again. So I believe we're 2 hexes off back-to-back Shadow Balls, which is quite interesting. They come into Virizion, okay. So this is probably their main answer to this Pokemon. And, oh, they let it through, that's absolutely huge. If this is Tenta in the back, I think we just win. I think that's our win con here, it's Tenta. Oh, it's their own Sand Slash down a shield. Game, set, and match, ladies and gents. Game, set, and match. That was the opponent's basically only answer to Charm. I was expecting perhaps like a Reggie of their own, or perhaps like a Tentacruel, as I mentioned earlier. This is just perfect for us, up a shield. This will take us out, and yeah, this is basically curtains for them. This is going to be, oh, they do go for a Drill Run here. Normally these Sand Slashes like going for the Ice Punch baits, but yeah, good games well played. That's going to take them out. If the opponent had recognized that Virizion was just so good there, because, you know, typically if you're staying in with a Jelly versus Virizion, it's a pretty big sign that the opponent's weak to Virizion in the back, so I think the opponent could have done a little bit better in just holding on to that. Also, whenever we swapped in the poly, maybe they weren't on Secret Sword, maybe that's what it was. They just swapped into poly, but they could have really just hammered us home with the Virizion, so definitely very fortunate there. This is quite a long drawn out matchup here between Reggie and Gira. I do believe it is slightly positive for Gira if you have bad IVs and Reggie. I could be mistaken there. I'm not watching this matchup, so we're skipping it ahead here. Honestly, that was like a minute worth of zap cannoning and dragon clawing and shadow sneaking, and we do finally catch what I'm assuming is a shadow sneak here. Yeah, so okay, we've debuffed them a lot, I'm guessing. I don't know, perhaps we've debuffed them, and they come into a little gradient, a little spammy gradient. Again, another pretty strong pick in the Ultra League at the minute. Again, another 1 kilometer body. It is a very XL Pokemon, but very easy to get the XL candy for. And another Pokemon that I think, you know, if you're looking to upgrade your Ultra League arsenal a little bit, look no further than Gradient. It's an amazing safe swap. As I've said before, even against Poly, you're shitting out body slams every 2 seconds, and it makes the match very, very awkward. We do go for a snipe here. We love going for this Registeel snipe, by the way. And we do get the shield. The opponent, luckily enough, goes for the move. If they had a farmed us down, they definitely could have got more shields off us there. But now it's basically Sandslash with 2 shields versus Gradient. We're going to wait out our timer, because we need to make sure we can swap if we do get a debuff, and again, we're not going to shield the first one in case we do get the debuff. The opponent does not. We're going to respect the second move, because they're basically in Ice Punch range, and they do not get the debuff. That's huge. Back in comes Tenta. The opponent is absolutely core broken here. The opponent's in absolute shambles at the side of the Sandslash. Oh, we make the dirty catch as well. We make a very, very dirty catch. Catch the Acid Spray as well. The opponent's an absolute menace to society. Going for that. Yep, boom. We're going to take that out, and unfortunately we're losing to the timer. That's kind of frustrating. I feel like we've done quite well there. But I mean, that's what happens whenever you have Giratina versus Reggie. It's just a painful matchup. This is a very positive lead. If they land a Moonblast, they can win, but it's pretty hard for them to do so. They're going to go for the bait here most likely. Oh, the opponent does go for the Moonblast. Okay, so that makes it a little bit better for them. But I think we just outpaced them too much here. Yeah, they're going to go for shield. They're going to play for it. And at this point, we come into our Registeel. Registeel very dominant against Tapu. The opponent goes for catching. Oh no. Yo, what's happening, guys? King GBL here. It's been 4 years since I started recording this video, and finally this match is over. We do go for the catch, and yeah, we take it out with the Shadow Ball, so good games there. In comes their own Reggie. So yeah, the opponent's using just a very bulky backline, Reggie and Giratina. I like Giratina as a Pokemon that you want to try to gain ELO with, but oh, it's so slow. Especially if you get it stuck on a Registeel, it's just absolute pain. I think we do have some energy on Reggie, but we could come into Sandslash, because of course we'll keep the Reggie for the Tapu. If I recall, the opponent overfarmed quite a lot. Now we're basically forced to shield anything they throw here. This will one-shot us. Of course we can live the surfs off the Tapu. Yeah, so we can just let this go. And I don't even mind building up to like back-to-back moves here. You could go for a swap. Yeah, I love that play. That's a fantastic play. We eat the surf here. We still get off the Zap Cannon and perhaps even get off the debuff. The opponent will get some extra energy, but I think this is definitely worth it. Yeah, they have to shield up that move. You basically guarantee the shield. We don't get the debuff, but we can just spam these out here. Now, Tapu Fini typically does win CMP, and we're going to, of course, have to shield one of these. If the opponent gets to another move, this does start getting dicey, but I think we just start farming it down and commit to the farm down. And yeah, in comes Registeel. We're going to farm up to back-to-back moves. Very nice energy management. I don't think this even KOs. Okay, but yeah, we go for the Ice Punch, because we need to make sure that we have a shield for the Tapu. Definitely like this play, and I don't think they can quite water gun us down. Good games well played. The Tapu was super low anyway, so that was perfectly fine anyway. Once again, we get another Tapu Fini. I do quite like Tapu Fini. I think it's a little bit slept on at the moment. People don't really like using Tapu because of all of the Tentas in the meta, and of course quite a lot of Reggies, but this Pokemon does very, very well into the fires. Very well into this Pokemon on screen now, Gliscor, which again is a very terrible Pokemon for Reggie to see. I'm quite interested because Gligar versus Reggie is very bad in the Great League. However, it looks like 3 of these Zap Cannons will KO this thing, and we do live the Earthquake pretty comfortably, and perhaps even get off another move. Unless they go for a Night Slash, we go for Focus Blast. I do like this, just get the damage through, and maybe put it into a Hex down range. And the opponent's committing to this, yeah, they're going to have to throw the move eventually. You're seeing here that this is a 14-15-15 Reggie. Had this been a Raid IV, that would have been even worse. They go for an aggro swap? What traitor? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're literally taking the alignment you want. It's funny seeing the playstyles between Great League and Ultra League. In Great League, people play hard alignments like far too much, and in Ultra League, sometimes people don't play alignment enough. I think there's a delicate balance between the two. In comes Reggie, and because we're up Shadow Claws and because we have equal shields, we should be in a very comfortable position to win this match now. Guys, thank you very much for the battle submission by Twisted. If you do want to send in some battles of your own, I'm not going to guarantee that I get to all of them. You can ask Twisted. I don't always get to all of his, but I do very much appreciate all the battle submissions. It definitely helps me out quite a lot. And especially if you guys are using teams that are like budget friendly, or very accessible Pokemon for the Ultra League, by all means guys, if you have any good teams, feel free to send them in. And of course, in the next couple of weeks, we'll have Great League and everything, so feel free to send those in as well. Big shout out to our channel members and people who support the channel. It is very, very much appreciated. We go for the swab. The opponent still has a move here, so it's nice we can absorb this energy here on the jelly, and we even live that, and they get a farm down, which actually, okay, it didn't cost us in the end. But yeah, back in comes Slash. We go for this move, and that's going to be good games. Everybody, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all next time.